How's it going, guys and gals? My name is Sergeant Beckett, and welcome back to the Sergeant Beckett Reacts video. Sorry if my voice sounds a bit off today, it's because, well, at least for this intro, it's because I've come down with a bit of a cold. So, this isn't the original intro to the video that you're about to see. I am recording this just under a year since this video was initially recorded. This is one of many videos that I'm trying to sort through from my files that are videos that are old recorded videos that I, for whatever reason, never got to editing through. And this is one of them. And I would have kept the original intro as it was. However, at the time of recording, I was coming back after a long stint of actually not recording. So yeah, I tried to find a way of getting around it. I can't. My intro is too integrated into the main premise of that intro. So here I am recording a clean intro for you, so that no old and outdated information gets into the video and gets confusing. So with this video cleanly introduced, I'll hand you back to past me. Enjoy the video. So today we're reacting to a Jubilee video called Am I addicted to my phone? Pro versus anti-social media. Now, like a majority of the younger generation, like a majority of the younger generations of this planet, I wouldn't say I had a privilege. I say I was lucky. I was lucky enough to be born in a time when social media wasn't as prevalent as it is today. Obviously, social media in general is in the world right now is a utterly terrible place, and not the most conducive environment for a lot of people. But to be a teenager or like growing up through adolescence in this time, holy fuck! So all I can say to that, like, it must be fucking crazy. Like, cause I remember, for starters, like I remember back in the day. Like, I can't really imagine how bad it is now, but well, I can say imagine, like, I've seen bits of it, but, like, to the full extent, I can only imagine. But I remember, back in the day, like, we were warned, when I was a teenager, we were like, I don't know if it was towards boys specifically. I think there were aspects towards boys, but I specifically remember the stuff towards girls, like, and the dangers of young girls comparing themselves to like the fake girls of the internet on these days of the internet and everything. I know that's not a thing that's still prevalent, but like back in the day, it was just like a thing that it was bad, but it wasn't as bad, I don't think. It was different in a way I can't quite explain. But social media used to be a lot more nicer. I don't remember it being so negative and argumentative. But I think what I can say for certain is that I was lucky to grow up in a time when it wasn't like it is today. Like, it wasn't so negative and so hurtful and stuff, and like there's actually a good aspects of social media about when I was growing up. and it wasn't as impactful as it is today. Either that, or I'm talking out my ass because I wasn't a teenager back then. And maybe it was I perceived it differently. But the internet, but it definitely has changed in some aspects. Maybe none that I can specifically say because of it. Despite it only being what 7 years ago, me being a teenager feels like a long time ago. I don't remember it all that much, but it definitely has changed. And there are aspects that have changed more than others. It is very much a more different place these days. But seeing as I don't actually have much, but apparently that was me. I ended up rambling more than I thought I would. In which case, I'm gonna shut up and let this video speak for itself.
Has led to so much mass overconsumption.
Thousands of children are dying.
It's just an amplification of problems that were there before.
It didn't matter like what age limit was on there. I was gonna sneak on and lie or anything.
This is Middle Ground, Stop Your Doom Scrolling. Today's topic of discussion, pro-social media versus anti-social media.
Yeah, let's have a think first. Where would I don't think I can pick a side. Because there's definitely aspects of me that do agree that are anti-social media, and other aspects, like me being sat here, for example, that are pro-social media. And unlike some people, I do not have the willpower to, for example, stop doing things that are maybe like not necessarily a massively negative thing, but small things like I've not, for example, for like unless. I've not willingly not looked at social media at least once a day. Like, unless I'm away off Wi-Fi, if I have access to Wi-Fi, I will look at it at least once a day. I don't think something I could willingly, and I don't think I do not have the willpower to make myself willingly not look at it at least once a day. So. I don't think I can, like, settle on either side of the spectrum
First
properly.
prompt is, I spend more than 5 hours on social media.
Oh, crap.
A day.
Do I? It's likely. It's possible I do. I couldn't say for certain though.
Oh, easily. Oh, easy.
Prime time, baby.
Oh, it's bad. In defense, it's kind of my job. If I'm not on Instagram posting or like watching something, then I'm on YouTube definitely watching something because I don't really watch TV as much anymore. If I'm not on YouTube, I'm probably on TikTok. If I'm not on TikTok, well, those are really the only 3 I usually use. Keeping up with news, keeping up with people in my life, everything is through social media, so I'm on it all the time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, like, social media is also my job, so, I mean, I'm looking at it like, okay, I'm looking for ideas, I'm looking for inspiration. For me, it just kind of works out and doesn't really become an issue for me, and I'm also pretty self-aware, so, like, if I find myself just, what is it called, doom scrolling?
Yeah.
I'm pretty like, all right, I'm gonna go take a walk.
Your brain
touch grass, yeah.
Yeah.
Brain rot a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, we're given the luxury of traveling the world from the comfort of our own homes, so it's just like, dude, like, there's nothing else to do. I hate my job, so sorry, I'm a normal citizen, guys. It's all right. But I saw this post on Twitter. Like, nobody scrolls more on social media than a person who hates their job. That is so true. Yeah.
What's your job?
I work at FedEx. Yeah.
That's a stressful job.
Yeah, a lot of things wrong with it, but you know, it pays the bills. So I ain't mad at it.
Yeah. Let's bring in our disagreeers. Yeah. All right, so we're gonna put y'all to the test. Everybody's gotta pull out their phone, pull up their screen time, and we'll go down.
I'll join in with this too if I can find it. Oh, it's actually right there in front of me. So apparently, shit. So, to amend my previous statement, yes, I do spend more than 5 hours a day, apparently, also on my phone. Well, okay, was it? Okay, average day screen time. So, on my phone in general, apparently, which is actually, no, that, on the phone, not specifically social media or anything else, on the phone makes sense. Because that's, 10 hours and 36 minutes. But that's not all just social media.
The circle, let's see what our numbers are.
Okay, 4 hours and 49 minutes for everything.
Oh, mine's 2 hours and 12 minutes.
I have an Apple laptop, so I think this is counting that as well. So I have 8 hours and 51 minutes.
I have 2 phones, but 3 hours and 4 minutes.
Mine's actually lower than expected. It's 7 hours and 44 minutes.
Okay, this is about to look insane. Mine's 16 hours, 18 minutes.
Ouch! Woo! Ouch! Oh, God.
I promise you I have a life and I go outside.
Oh, that's okay, buddy. You shouldn't be ashamed. It's lower than it's 5 hours and 24 minutes. It's not that bad.
Mine's 5 hours on the dot.
5 hours on the dot. Thank you all for sharing that.
Okay. With 10 hours, I don't fuck why it's bad anymore.
Who here is a creator? Is it just these two guys?
Different ways, yeah.
Yeah.
Sort of, yeah.
Yeah, just kind of explain maybe what platforms you're active on, what you're following.
Yeah, so I volunteer for a group called Log Off, which is a student-run movement that is looking at how young people can reevaluate their relationship with social media. I run their podcast and their digital blog. I don't use zero social media, but I'm not a heavy user.
Yeah, and what's like the audience size or follower size?
The audience size of this particular podcast is around 300 listeners per episode.
Got it. And then how about you guys? Wailing, what's
I make music. I will create music with my friends, and I direct music videos, and I have to promote those things online. So.
And do you have some followers?
Not really, not much. Because I'm really mostly behind the scenes with everything. I am starting to put myself in the forefront now, so I can't keep the sexy face.
Me, I center more around political stuff, mainly activism within the Black community. I've done a lot of on-the-ground work recently, travel and connecting with different avenues, whether it's to get the vote out or to advocate for certain issues and everything. So now on TikTok, I think I have around 1.3 million, and then on Instagram, it's 155,000. It comes with a lot of expectation and pressure, but it's something that I've been able to navigate pretty well. Yeah, but that's me. That's why the 16-hour thing. So yeah.
No one's judging you.
I make music as well, and I just do video creation, make content, daily life stuff. I have 7.2 million subscribers on YouTube, 6.7 on TikTok, and 2.4 on Instagram.
Trying to get like you, big dog. Trying to get like you.
I've always liked being in the spotlight and kind of having my shine, I
Yeah,
guess.
he downplayed that. He downplayed that a lot. He did. I don't do much. Just just general posting, daily lifestyle stuff. Comes out with the fucking 7 point whatever million subscribers. What the fuck?
It has its pros and cons, obviously, but for the most part, I'm blessed to be in the position I'm in, and I wouldn't trade it for anything.
Nice. Our next prompt is a little bit different. Participants will come in when it's true for them. So the prompt is, I had social media when I was 8.
I don't think so. I mean, I had access to the internet, but I don't think I had I don't think so.
Years old. Come in if that's true. I had social media when I was 9 years old. That's true for you. Come in. 10 years old. 11 years old. 12 years old. All right.
You didn't make it very far.
I feel like 8 years old was the age I actually started paying attention to stuff. Because I remember having social media, but I think it was exclusively YouTube. I think that might be the beginning of when I had the idea I wanted to be like a YouTuber or a content creator.
I started off on Facebook when I was about 9 years old. My older siblings were on it, my family was on it, and for me, it genuinely started off as social media. But I think as it progressed, then a couple years later, I got an Instagram, and then I also got Snapchat, and that's when it started to kind of go downhill, because I remember receiving inappropriate messages at 10 years old, like asking...
Yeah, Snapchat. I never got into Snapchat. I don't know what it was. I don't know what it was. I just don't think I was either. I must have not been aware of it, because I know I had Facebook and Instagram at the time. I think that was enough for me. I didn't really need anything else. And if people were talking about Snapchat, I didn't really care about it. The bit that and then I still didn't really care for Snapchat that much and anything else. And then the bit that got me was that made me that I was like, okay, I'm never doing that. Doing something else that ever then. Was when they introduced the map system in Snapchat. I don't know why, but at the time, I was like, that just seems a really bad idea. Because, like, unless you had you were like a really good computer scientist, let's say, or whatever, or you're really good, you could like use computers, you weren't going to be able to just find out, unless people actively gave away their location. I don't think you were going to be able to find out where people live just like that. So the idea that Snapchat was like, hey, here's a map where all your followers or friends or whatever lives. Yeah. Plus when I think the other thing that put me off was also the whole fucking dick pics that I always heard always got like passed around on that app as well. That was something else.
To be a sugar baby, and just things that should not be said to a child or shown to a child. And that was my experience with it, where it might have started off as an innocent intention with, oh, I want to see what my sister's up to, what my friends are up to, but unfortunately it doesn't end that way.
I kind of just had YouTube, as most of you guys did, the sort of like subtle effects of watching videos where people are kind of like flaunting whatever they have, like to get like the most views. And then as a child, you're like really receptive to all of these different things. I definitely saw that come up in schools. I remember like fidget spinners were like the biggest thing ever. And if you didn't have a fidget spinner, like you're done. I don't know. It was just like.
Oh yeah. I remember that. I remember that craze among many others. Yep. There was the fidget spinners. I remember that one.
What happens when people watch something online, especially at such a young age, and then like have like negative effects of that.
And I would say too with that, influencer culture has led to so much mass overconsumption. I was into like beauty videos where they talked about like fashion and makeup tutorials, and it's like they have like a whole new set of makeup for like every single month and new clothes for every single month. And realistically, the average person does not need to consume that much. It's bad for the environment, it's bad for your wallet. Like it's, I think you develop the mindset that like money can bring you happiness. And then that can also lead to other issues, like a lot of influencers, at least back in my day, were very thin. And I was a kid, and I should not have been wishing that I was thinner at 10 years old. That is ridiculous. So I think it kind of leads to unrealistic expectations, both in consumerism and,
as mentioned earlier,
whether it's like your body or how you feel about yourself.
I do like that point. A lot of things that I like to focus on, though, is like trying to address root causes of certain issues and everything. So I would say that I don't know if those problems are necessarily brought about by influencer culture. I think right now, because social media is such a prolific way of us communicating, we can easily pick apart that is a problem with like overconsumption, or that's a problem with like body image and everything, but we didn't take the time to evaluate the social systems that created those conditions before the time of social media. It is true in the sense that like social media does not help to ease a lot of those problems, but I feel like it's just an amplification of problems that were there before everyone had the ability to like turn their phone on and say something.
At 11, I feel like I was at like a certain level of maturity that I knew not to compare myself to other people. And I feel like that's what helped me have a positive experience. For instance, there's this one creator named Alona Mar, and she helped me like feel at place because I play a somewhat more like manly sport. So I was like, I'm a bit different from everyone else, and social media like created a sense of home to me.
What sport do you play?
I play rugby and field hockey.
social media should have an age requirement.
Yes, it should. It's something that should have been a fact. I mean, with the points that were made just now, like it's something that should have been a fact years ago, and especially in the last since like maybe like 2020. I mean, maybe a couple years before that. Even more prevalent now, and Australia, I think, is already a step ahead of that. There is. I've said it at the start of the video, but there is so much negative shit on the internet these days and around social media that it's not a conducive environment for a mind as influential as a child. Like, there is so much bad... There's just so much negative behaviour that could be easily influenced onto a child which can then have a spiral effect into something much worse. No, I won't, I'm not gonna do like, there are several areas on this I could comment on, but that's an entire another rabbit hole that can end up making this video longer than it needs to be. But there is one area which isn't directly linked to this, but the act of kids being on social media does then coincide to having a certain effect, and that effect tends to be on content creators. I bring this up because it's something that I've seen myself to the content creators that I follow, and it's something that, despite myself fucking myself in terms of monetization on this channel, despite that, I do try to keep wary of myself. And this is not only a commentary on this, but also if any parents are listening to this, then this is something to you if you are one of these people to do it. And it's the idea that somehow, even though you are the parent, and it is your job to guide and teach and influence on how things work in the world and how to live and how to go through life. Despite that being your job, content creators are the ones that have had to change how they make their content. Now, some admittedly do not have an issue with this. Some of them are either a bit reluctant but okay to change. Some are completely okay to change because it doesn't change themselves too much. There are some, however, like me, who obviously change to keep themselves with the ability to create, but it massively affects the way that their content is made. All to allow your kids to be able to watch content that you approve of. Obviously, I do want to keep making content on YouTube, so if things go as drastic enough for it, then I will obviously have to amend certain things, but as long as I possibly can, if I have the ability to do, I will not change the content I make to fit the appropriateness that you wish your child to view. But this is just something that I've seen so many times on YouTube, especially. Especially in the like the 2010s, especially with YouTubers I follow. I've seen it so much in so many different ways, and as a as someone who's grown into the role of the content creator myself, it really does piss me off, because we should not have to change ourselves to make our content appropriate for your child to watch. If you don't like your child watching our content, then stop them watching it. However that means to be, but but it is your job to stop them from watching us and have them watch something that's more appropriate in your eyes for them. Anyway, sorry, that was a side tangent. It's a lot longer in raw footage, but I imagine I would have edited that down because I did flub that a little bit. But yeah, that's my 2 cents on that. There are other areas in which children should have There should be an age requirement for social media. But that's a rabbit hole that'll take too long to go down. But yeah. Side tangent over. Let's see what these people have to say, shall we?
If you agree, please step forward.
But yeah, so it should. Australia's already got
Nobody at Instagram or nobody at TikTok has to make it that decision to show the harmful product or trend to a child. It's all done autonomously via an algorithm, whereas like if you're talking about Disney Channel cartoons that might perpetuate harmful stereotypes or something, like there is at least a human level where you can intervene and exercise some sort of moral discretion.
Also, with no federal privacy legislation, it's just we're putting so many kids' data at risk, and they don't necessarily know the harms of what to share, what not to share. I know when I was younger, I wish I didn't post certain things, and I think people are going to grow up and have that digital trail behind them, that digital footprint of things maybe they wish they didn't post due to a lack of child online safety legislation. That puts everyone at a big risk, especially children.
If your child is 13 but they have like the social awareness of an 8-year-old, do not give them social media under like any circumstance. But there already is like age limits, like on TikTok and Snapchat and Instagram. It's like 12 and up, I think. I don't know, it might have changed.
13 is the age of adulthood on the internet.
Okay, 13. But if you're not mature enough, it's just a parent's decision to be like, you're not ready, I'm sorry, but no, and you know.
Okay, no, it was actually rather, but yeah, it is the parents' decision to monitor what you watch, not the creators.
Have to respect that.
So you think there should be a requirement, but it should be enforced by parents, not like a
Yes.
law?
Yeah, it's kind of just a parent's decision to me.
Gotcha. Let's bring in our disagreeers.
Oh god, here we go.
I was a kid once, so it didn't matter like what age limit was on there. I was gonna sneak on and lie or anything. So it's just like, I understand we should, put regulations on social media, but that also kind of like takes away from the responsibility and accountability of the parents not informing their children of what goes on the internet. And a lot of parents are just negligent in that. They use social media to pacify instead of teaching this kid how to use this responsibly. That's up to the parents. You need to teach your child, you need to take care of your child and raise your kid. That's up to you.
There's so much literature out there that you can find equal amounts that'll say this will have this amount of effect on your mental health, this will have this detrimental effect on XYZ, and the same amount of studies will say this helps bring broader activism to the table and organize people in a certain way. Then you can find more that are like, it creates alienation or whatever. You're going to be able to find every single thing that's negative and positive about it. The issue being the practicality of having a restriction that's like hard enforced when it comes to like age limits. It's just what happens when inevitably these students who are gonna find a way to communicate with each other get on that social media anyway. Who's held liable for that? I feel like once you run into putting those hard limits on things, I don't think that this is as clear cut as an issue enough to be able to have that concrete barrier.
Even if the jury is still out, like in the academic discourse about whether or not social media is directly responsible for a lot of the teen mental health crisis, and even if, like, I'll grant you that, let's say, a lot of the harms that you observe on social media are downstream of like older cultural issues, we're still in the midst of the largest teen youth mental health crisis that we've seen in decades. Like thousands of children are dying writ large if you look across the globe, even in countries that don't have the same like economic models, even in countries that don't have the same cultural institutions. The teen mental health crisis starts everywhere, and it happens when people get online.
Quick follow-up I have is, for people who think there should be an age requirement, what do you think an appropriate age is?
16 to create an account.
16.
You can view if you're like on YouTube, or I mean TikTok's a little different, but you can view. You can't create an account unless you're 16, is what I would say.
So like the age of driving a car.
Yeah, and like a lot of others, like signing into contracts, right?
Yeah. What about you? You guys?
I honestly, like, maybe this is a little extreme, but like 21, because I understand it's a little extreme, but isn't that when your brain finally is like at the point of
25.
You're looking at me.
Oh, 25.
That frontal cortex, what is it, is developed.
So you see it more as like kind of alcohol, like a substance maybe.
Because honestly, I feel like social media is addicting. At least my friends, something that I have a hard time with them is like, I'll be on FaceTime with them and they'll just be scrolling on TikTok for like 8 hours, and I'll just be like, what's the point of me being on the phone with you if I'm like not able to talk to you? The algorithm is so scary. Isn't it built by people who like make slot machines? And
The element of the pull down, I think, is kind of inspired
Infinite
by
scroll.
exactly, and like, I don't know. I definitely 100,000% agree with you on like, how do you even define mentally ready to go on such a an app like social media.
I totally agree with what everyone has said. I think it's very hard to enforce at a policy level. People are going to lie. Same thing that happens with smoking, with drinking. People do it before the age requirement. But I do think it's important for parents to emphasize this to their children, for our culture as a whole to understand that there are negative consequences to using social media too young.
When you hear those ages, what comes to mind?
I mean, I think it was you who said 16?
That's right.
16? I just, me personally, I find that a little bit baffling. Obviously the position I'm in and just trying to wrap my head around that the age where you can operate a motored vehicle is the same age you can be on social media. I just feel like that's so unrealistic. You know what I mean? I feel like that's unrealistic, and like you said, it's hard to, you know, people are always going to find a way to bypass age verifications and things like that, and same thing with smoking and drinking, and all those things are done before the proper age, and I feel like pushing it and making it higher makes people want to do it more.
Well, and that's why it wouldn't be a complete ban. It would just say you can't create an account and post it and engage in like the ways that a lot of users do. A lot of people I talk to credit like the early benefits of YouTube or TikTok as like, this taught me something that I would never learn in school, and like that's so powerful.
Yeah.
And you still get to do that.
I mean, I get it. Like, and then there's a lot of kids who are going through like terrible stuff right now, and TikTok's all they have. That's how they made all their friends, because they can't make a friend at school. I know how that was, man. Like, I was that kid. I couldn't make a friend, so yeah, man. I mean, but yeah, I understand.
There are a lot of people who built a lot of stuff, whether it comes to friend groups or just getting through issues or whatever through social media, where it's like, I don't know what effect like having that you can't create an account until this age or whatever would.
When it comes to like, I'm still that friendship sort of thing. Like, I obviously, as those of you who have been on the channel long enough, probably heard the story once or twice. I met the guys, and Sinead and the rest of them, through, the root cause was all through TikTok. But that was when I was in college, so I was like 18. I want to say. Maybe 18, 19-ish? Well, it had to have been, yeah. So, at a time when I was old enough to understand at least a little bit how shit worked.
Would have on those people too.
I think also, I agree with what you're saying. I work in social media reform, and what we want to do is we want to increase the social part of social media. And what you're talking about, what I hear is you're talking about the social benefits of social media, like putting the social in social media. But to go back to what Sophia was saying, social media is created with the intermittent variable reward system, which basically triggers random rewards at different times, whether that's a like on a post or a comment or a new follower, whatever the case may be, to maximize your attention span. And with that, we're seeing such a rise in different attention deficit disorders, anxiety, and I think it's unfair to set our kids up for failure. So while there are benefits, I think if we can maybe pull the best from social media, a messaging app or something that doesn't directly rely on giving your information to show you targeted ads to keep you on the algorithm longer, because that's the whole profit model of social media. And that's where it gets dangerous for young people. We're extracting their information to keep them on a screen longer, to show them the perfect algorithm, to then show them targeted ads, which then makes the platform money. So I think we're giving our kids anxiety and like giving them an addiction. We're giving them like a slot machine in their pocket, basically. I think if we can put the social back in social media, I would be in support of younger people having it. But with the current state now, I think a child has no business being on Instagram, Facebook, Snapchat, anything that's gonna be extracting their data for the company to profit from.
There are things online I do that nobody knows about. Will the agreeers please step?
There's probably some things. There's things that, for example, the guys know, but you guys don't know. That's because they're close friends, and I trust them with, despite them to maybe using it to take the piss out of me, I trust them with information. But I mean, and then even to that point, there's then some stuff that is that's obviously very personal and private to me that I don't tell anyone. So yeah, there's like different varying levels, but nothing that's like, you know, yeah.
Step forward.
All fairly reasonable stuff. Oh wow.
Obviously, there's things I look up, there's websites I use that, just browsing for my curiosity, like as a person, it's like, I feel like I wouldn't want my friends to know this, I wouldn't want my parents to know this, and I think that's a good part about the internet because there's certain things that you may be too embarrassed to talk about with other people that you can do online.
I had a phase where I really wanted to be like a video game streamer and an influencer. All that content is now permanently wiped from the internet. Conversations and speech I engaged in when that was where I was in life, online, on Discord and on Reddit, that is all now permanently gone.
Do you mind if you're comfortable being a little more specific? Like, why did it feel like you needed to erase that?
It wasn't because it was like damning or anything or particularly bad or incriminating. It was just that's not who I wanted to be anymore. I was doxxed twice.
Why did they do that?
It's because it's silly. It's just like trolling. You just meet people online, right? It was scary, but shortly after that, I decided I was going to do everything in my power, not only to get myself offline, but start getting other people to think about how they could maybe live better lives if they were offline.
All right, let's bring in our disagreeers.
There's like nothing really to hide because you can't hide anything on social media. It's all open. You have to be an open book, and if you're not really ready for that, then I don't think you should have social media.
Yeah, I've been doing social media since I was like 9 years old, so my me from a baby to now is all documented, so it's just me. So.
And can you remember? You can go back to being 9 and remember.
Oh, hold on, wait. They're talking about things. Okay, well, no. In terms of what I actually put out, I don't think. What? I'm confused me a little bit. Hold on. No, I don't think there's anything that I put out there that I voluntarily put out there that I don't share with people. Yeah, I think anything that I do put out there is stuff that people do really want to know about. I'm fairly certain. I don't know. That's the problem these days. I've been doing this go back to the thing about 5 years. Well, actually, I've been doing YouTube for overall over 5 years now, and I've been on social media a lot longer than that. And I can't remember anything. I can't remember everything that I put out there. There's probably some things I put out there. I don't know. But from what I can remember, I don't think there's anything that's
And you were making then versus now?
Yeah.
It's a long time.
Yeah, it is a long time.
I feel like for me, it creates more of a sense of privacy, in a separation away from the internet. Because as much as I love being on the internet, I don't love being on the internet. I don't got to be on it 24/7. So it's again, I'm still me and I'm still authentic. When I'm in front of a camera, but there are aspects of my personality that I'm okay, that's for me. So yeah, y'all won't. Yeah.
I also just want to add that most of the instant messaging that I do doesn't happen through iOS text or WhatsApp. It happens through encrypted apps and other channels. So I definitely do see the value in being able to have this separate outlet that's completely private and completely insulated from the real world that you can have online. That's such a valuable thing that should be talked about and celebrated more.
I consume most of my news through social media.
Yep. Pretty much. There's Mum and Mum watches the news and stuff. So if I'm going downstairs to get a snack or coffee, and there's something that pops up, I'll probably walk past and linger in the doorway to watch it. But but most of the time it's something I've already seen anyway. I've seen it on Instagram or Twitter or TikTok first before it's even on the news. But pretty much, yeah. The first thing that it's a thing that I've a bit of a rabbit hole, to be honest, if anything, but it's something that I tend to do nowadays. The first thing when I wake up, it's a weekend or when I get home from work. First thing I do on the computer is open up YouTube and just see what's on one recommended page to watch. So yeah, too much.
If you agree, step forward.
I consume most of my news from TikTok and Instagram, stuff like that, but I know to take it with a grain of salt because nothing is 100% guaranteed. This might have happened, but I really don't know because social media is not a reliable source.
Yeah, similar to what she said, I consume it very lightly because I also live in a world of entertainment where I know everything on social, 99% of things on social media are fake, and for entertainment purposes, I look at it and I'm oh really? I wonder if that's true. Next.
I mean, it's kind of hard not to nowadays. I mean, that's where everybody congregates and like goes on to. But you also get on the ground news. Like you get on the ground stuff where people are part of those things. I would have never realized what's going on in Palestine, Congo, Haiti, Sudan. Like I would have never knew about any of that stuff until like I seen those videos and those posts about that. It's kind of hard to depend on places like Fox or like CNN or like anything like that because it's starting to seem like more propaganda. They don't want to talk about the things that we know or like know are happening.
So you have a distrust of like legacy media almost as much or more than social media?
It's recently grown, yeah, like the distrust has recently grown.
I think for me, my first point of contact with news and update is probably almost always going to be social media. I'll usually see something and then be like, oh, is that true? And then I'll Google it. When I first see stuff on social media, a lot of those platforms do lie and misrepresent. I actually had like a very public back and forth with the Shade Room because I called them out for misrepresenting a story when the Maui fires were happening. It made me realize a lot of social media platforms are fake and for the click and for the engagement. They might tell you some of the story, but they will tell you the ones that get them the engagement.
All right, let's bring in our disagreeers. We had a clean cut.
I'm saying, yeah, where do y'all get your news from?
I love the New York Times and Washington Post, honestly. Like, I have the apps on my phone, and the little breaking news alerts. I read the morning, email newsletter every day from New York Times. I love it. And then it, like, gives the little links to where, like, you can read more on stories. And I really like that for me. I work in the tech space a lot, so I get a lot of my news from tech-specific podcasts. I really like Your Undivided Attention by the Center for Humane Technology. There's also one specifically for social media reform called Scrolling to Death, which I really like.
The morning ritual, you gotta do the little New York Times games, and then you can like start reading the little articles that are up for the day.
That is so real. Yeah. Me too, girl.
Because like social media, you guys definitely talked about it before, but it's kind of like when you first hear about something, you can get like a preconceived notion and kind of have a bias at first. And if you don't, I'm sure you guys do, but a lot of people don't take that extra step to like research more. Like they'll say something and they'll disagree with your opinion, and you'll be like, oh, where did you hear that from? And they'll be like, TikTok. And it's like, well, wait a minute. Like, you got to research a little bit more first before you start going around saying like certain things to other people.
I read a lot of print media. I read mostly New York Times, Washington Post, and Wall Street Journal. I read a lot of independent Substack columns. It's like this blogging platform, if people don't know.
I read a lot of Substack.
There's no social media platform to me that's conducive to fleshing out ideas in the way that I like to have them fleshed out for my own brain to work. And so I enjoy long-form text-based mediums. Apart from Substack, I currently haven't found an online platform that does that. So.
Kind of ashamed to say I get most of my news from my friends and my family. I don't have social media, like I said, and that is actually one reason I think I like kind of want to go back. I feel less informed about the world. I use the excuse that I'm too busy to read the news, but I just don't like reading. So yeah,
I feel that. I do it a lot, but I feel that.
Yeah.
Do you guys feel like you're put in a better position to question where they're getting their information from? Because I know when you see it a lot on social media, you can tell like, oh, obviously this person is trying to do X, Y, Z. It's like, do you accept more what they say at like face value, or do you still keep that, okay, it's the New York Times, but let me still question where they...
I think there's a tradition of rigorous fact-checking and at least an attempt to be true to the story in legacy media, right? And I don't believe that social media incentivizes people who are posting news to have any of those same best practices, nor do I believe like companies like Meta or TikTok are actually capable of discerning like what is true and what is false.
I think too, in the age of generative AI, it's tricky because before generative AI, before ChatGPT became very mainstream, social media did not have mis and disinformation figured out. I think it was Europol that predicted that in a year or two, 90% of all information on social media would be artificially generated, which is horrifying to me. So I was just curious, for those who do get your news sources from social media, how do you discern what is a reliable source and what's not, especially when I feel like our attention spans have been weakened? Do you take the time to click on the article or research further, and how does that process go for you?
I really just don't have time. Like, when I do find information or like a story I really genuinely care about, I go online, I go to a credible like source, and I look and I research about it. But other than that, I really just can't worry about it too much.
I mean, yeah, I'll just go Google it, or sometimes I'll ask ChatGPT about it.
I guess just like there's so much information online, how do you discern what's worth fact checking? And if you don't fact check it, do you think that creates a bias in your mind?
In the same way that there's a lot of trust and faith in certain institutions, whether it's like legacy media when it comes to like a New York Times or whatever, and that you really determine that based off like track record, and you deem that like, okay, well, I've checked on what they're talking about. Usually they're not misrepresenting it. I don't have time to do it for literally every single thing, but most of the time, I've caught myself a couple times where I'll see something and I'll be like, dang, that really happened? And I'll go the rest of the day thinking that might have happened. And I was like, wait, actually, hold on. All right, let me like really think about it. But I think mainly determining based off like, all right, is this a platform that has lied in the past? Making sure that you can at least find somewhere where they get the source from. But I think where people fall is that they just kind of accept it as like, oh yeah, I believe that, therefore it must have happened. It's like, nah, you gotta, because they could be lying to you too, even if they're trustworthy.
I've written a hate comment or hate DM. No one here has ever written a hate comment?
Writing on a celebrity's profile.
All right. Anyone ever shit posted, trolled?
I'll agree to the hate comment, but I won't. I'll explain.
Okay.
I don't have particulars, but I know it's probably happened.
Okay, so no to hate comment, but maybe on trolling?
Yeah.
All right, come on in.
I feel like hate's a strong word, but I had an argument in the comment section.
Yeah.
But hate, I don't think I've ever like hated on an individual person or like what they were doing through a comment. I feel like that's kind of a waste of time.
Same, yeah.
How about you?
I mean, yeah, similar to what he said, I've never expressed a heavy like hatred towards somebody in a comment section or something of that sort. I've just given an opinion on something I've disagreed with.
How many layers of an argument have you gone? How many times have you gone back to an argument?
I've had like paragraphs. Like it was bad. Maybe like a total of like 10 responses. This is when I had the time to do that, maybe when I was like 13, 14. You could read like dissertation length, like arguments and talking points, whatever, with one or two people in the comment section just over something that it was super passionate about. Good thing nowadays I don't. I can't. You kind of just gotta let people express and think what they think.
Yeah. How about you?
Yeah, so I've never really had it out for somebody in the comments, or, I mean, I guess trolling's a different thing. But I grew up, I was really, really into video games, and a lot of the culture surrounding that ends up in what I just call like low-level insults, where you're just looking to get a reaction out of people. So I definitely partook in that when I was a lot younger. But I've never really looked at somebody and said, I need to ruin their day online.
Totally. Okay, let's bring in our disagreeers. Or our liars.
Yeah, I mean, I probably lied a little bit. Like, I mean, yeah, I didn't lie on purpose, but there's definitely been some disagreements similar to what's already been said. A lot of the time, I think that can really affect someone, because I've had it affect me, and I just think there's no place for that. So I usually try to be the bigger person. It's hard sometimes, but it's the best thing to do, in my opinion.
I've definitely noticed on social media, people can kind of take advantage of the fact that they're not looking at people face to face, so they can take their personal beliefs and like polarize them to the max, and then if they find someone that they disagree with, they'll really charge at them just because a lot of the time people think that their beliefs are better than others, or they feel like they have to shut other people down.
And if you go on any social media platform and look at nearly any post that's not like on a private account, you'll see so many hate comments. For what reason? It's like a cooking video and it's like, this recipe looks trash. Like, and it's so ridiculous because something I've noticed a lot, I'm a Taylor Swift fan, and in a lot of videos of Taylor Swift, it's telling Swifties to go kill themselves or anything really extreme. And it's like people can hide behind a screen and take this to the extreme, commenting on someone they don't know or groups they don't know about, whether that's politics, art, entertainment, whatever the case may be. If it's not directly to a private account, I think it's so easy to kind of project whatever opinions that you want and hide behind a screen.
Who here's received a hate DM or a hate comment?
All the time.
It's a lot. What are those like?
I really don't care.
Yeah.
I don't even argue in real life. If you want to cry, just be in your diaper and go in the corner. It doesn't really matter to me.
I mean, I'd say I'm pretty similar. I've never like been able to look at a hate comment and let it affect me. Me being a person who grew up in the entertainment industry, I kind of got used to it. So like I was 12 years old and people were telling me everything you can imagine of a hate comment. But like even seeing that at such a young age, I just looked at it and never really like, I kind of laugh at it. I almost feel sorry for that person.
There was a time when I was much younger when a lot of hate comments, especially pertaining to like my body image, really did contribute to a lot of my insecurities when I was like 12, 13, 14. And that's really, really dangerous to have young people exposed to. I agree that this is kind of just an internet problem, right? Inherent internet problem that you might not be able to solve. But I would also encourage people to think about like what are the things that are driving all this hate online, when most people I think would agree that if they go out in their neighborhood and their communities, they'll see markedly less hate. There's a lot of people that become humanized when you speak to them face to face. So what is it about that's different about digital platforms that encourages people to be the worst version of themselves?
Yeah.
Anyone now can be famous, and that is a good thing. If you agree, please step forward.
Yeah, the phrasing can be, it's like interesting. I think it takes a certain type of person to be famous and grow a following, but social media definitely gives more people an avenue to get there. I think that's a great thing for representation.
If you like live in a small town and you look different from everyone else, and then you see someone online and you're like, oh, they look like me. Now I feel like more comfortable being myself.
So you're both kind of thinking of it as like a representational benefit. All right, let's bring in our disagreeers. A lot more disagreeers.
The thought that anybody can be famous, again, like I completely agree with you. I feel like it takes a certain type of person. It's not necessarily that like anyone can be, it's just way more broad. And I think for representation, that's very good. The other side to that being that we do not want certain people who are currently prolific to have the platforms that they do. And like, I don't think it should be gate-kept who should have like audience around them. But I also think that with that comes a lot of people who don't have people's best interests at heart, so.
Andrew Tate comes to mind. Do you think, like, how do we decipher who should and who should have a platform, you know? Because I look at someone like that and I'm like, wow, like, the fact that young boys are using this as an idol to learn from is really scary to me.
While acknowledging that there is an incredible amount of division in this country, there has been for some time, what social media has done is has turbocharged all of the extremes in our society.
The Center for Countering Digital Hate actually last year posted a report saying that Twitter alone, I want to say they're earning an extra $19 million in ad revenue just from placing their ads next to hate speech accounts that Elon Musk brought back. So I think when we're having these people that are so famous, not for great reasons, they're generating profit for these social media accounts. So it's in their best favor, because whether you agree with the content or you disagree with it, if it's extreme, it's going to draw more people in because negative news attracts more people. So I think that's a really scary and dangerous thing, and that's why I don't think everyone should be famous.
Me personally, I just think there's certain people that should be famous and certain people that shouldn't be famous. I mean, I think social media very often actually has like a very big problem with making someone famous and then later down the line come out like, this person did this 5 or 10 years ago, and it's like, well, you guys kind of enabled them, so.
Like it should be culturally developed to like, okay, this is certain red flags and things we need to start looking out for before you just blanketly trust a person online, or before you just like accept what they're saying. The big problem is trying to figure out how to get people exposed to those viewpoints, how to get people out of their bubbles. So I think the other viewpoint is always just like a click away, whereas beforehand, maybe you grow up in this area where there's an accepted belief, and that's just kind of like your belief, and you're gonna live and die with that without being exposed to something else. So it's still kind of like stratified when it comes to social media, but it's a lot more likely that you can see something different that you didn't expect, as opposed to like what it used to be.
Social media has altered my personality. If you agree, please step forward.
And yeah, I'd say it has in some ways. It's influenced like certain interests and hobbies and stuff of mine. Yeah, I think it probably has done. Not always I can myself explain, but it probably has done.
Social media has altered my personality, not in like necessarily a negative way. I think it's built character. I think that's a better way to put it. I think the experiences I've been through and like being in an industry where like so many people can, you know, stab your back or do you wrong, or being just let down in general by so many different people, I feel like that kind of just built character for me.
Can you go out in public?
What do you mean?
Are you that famous? Like you have to
I mean, no, I'm not like.
You're pretty famous. Based on the numbers.
Being recognized in public for me is like, I mean, it definitely has changed the way I approach everything publicly now. I was just in Yosemite and I went to the grocery store because we were staying in a cabin there, so we were getting a bunch of food. And this one girl recognized me, she took a picture with me. And then I walked outside and like 3 cars pulled up and like so many people screaming. They're like, I hope you know the whole cheerleading team's coming to this grocery store right now. And I was like, I'm leaving. But
That's
yeah.
crazy. That's never that's never happened to me. I've been recognized a couple times. Like it happened to me twice. One time in the airport. It's a unique experience, but like most of the time it's just chill. I feel like when it comes to building or like affecting my personality, I think in my position it's influenced me to realize that I'm like a lot more outgoing and should be a lot more confident in my abilities with things. But I think like on a base level, I think it's made me more emotionally mature. Because I feel like I've always kept that thought in mind that like no matter what I see on social media, like a lot of it is the best moment in people's lives.
Yeah, I'm not on social media anymore, but the way I interpreted the prompt is like when I'm on social media, I'm kind of upholding a persona. Even though I don't have a big following or anything, I just feel like I have to interact with people in a different way than I do in person. And that was one of the reasons I was like, this is too much for me. I'm putting too much energy into something that I don't think is gonna give me anything meaningful in the end. I couldn't be myself, if that makes sense.
I think social media, when I had social media, it just made me more insecure. I had such confidence issues for like a fat minute because I always thought like, oh, if I post something compared to when this person posts something, like, oh, they get more likes than I do. Getting off of social media has allowed me to like find more confidence in myself and like what I'm interested in and like just overall become, or like what I like to think is like the best version, or constantly working on the best version of myself.
I really like that. And I think when I was on Instagram, I had a similar situation where I would compare the likes I got on a picture compared to what my friends got. And it's just human nature to compare. I know we say we shouldn't, but everyone compares at least a little bit. And I think it kind of made me feel more superficial about certain things. And whether it was about my looks or an Instagram caption, things that like I really shouldn't be thinking too much about. But I think at that time I was a superficial version of myself, and now I feel a lot more authentic, and I think that's how social media has altered my personality. That the absence of social media has made me feel more authentic.
I want to ask, could any of you guys see a future in which you like never interact with social media?
I think I could go without Instagram. I don't have Snapchat, I don't have Twitter, I don't use Facebook. I do use LinkedIn for professional purposes. If we're considering YouTube a social media, of course, like there's educational information on YouTube. What is considered social media, a lot of us can't go without it, whether it's like messaging apps, but I think a lot of can go without like infinite scroll algorithm apps.
Yeah, and I'll just say I'm not a large influencer like any of you, but I do have networking needs. A lot of the advocacy groups that I interface with, they primarily have their presence on Twitter or on Instagram. That's how I do outreach. That's how I look for people to appear on my podcast. And I wouldn't wish for anybody to have to live without those benefits.
Okay, we have to wrap this up. So final thoughts, keep it brief, but you're talking to Gen A. The next,
We're there.
if you had to give advice to Gen A on how they should engage with social media, keep it quick, but what would you say?
I would say to be intentional with your social media use. Try to put the social back in social media and use it as a tool to strengthen your social relationships, not as a distraction from the world.
Yeah, keep in mind that there is a huge power imbalance between you as the user and whoever created the algorithm. There is a profit incentive behind Meta, TikTok, Instagram, all of these companies, and it's going to direct each and every aspect of your experience on the platform like you are not in control.
If you have a passion, chase it. Don't let people discourage you from it. Don't waste time comparing yourself to people. It's something that you probably will do at a certain point, but just know that it's not everything, and there's a world outside of these people that you might meet on social media. Always do what you got to do to make sure that you keep a head on your shoulders, because you never want to get too much of anything is bad. So always make sure you have that moderation with anything else.
I would say social media is such a highlights reel, and know that everyone goes through those up and downs. It's just that they only post the ups because that's what they want to brag about to everyone on social media. And just always be yourself and never act like someone that you aren't.
All right, thanks guys, this was a nice discussion.
That's a wrap.
Interesting video. I don't think there's much for me to say in conclusion there, apart from like a lot of what was said is pretty much I think what a lot of people my age and older probably think nowadays about social media. Like we grew up when it was just when it was like just becoming like a prominent thing. And we were the ones who experienced all the insecurity and all the all the negative, all like the major negativity and mental health stuff that happens now, like we're the ones who sort of experienced how it started back, like at least from my perspective, in the early 2010s, and because of that, we've experienced that, growing up with it. And then as we grow older, we were then able to like grow out of it, but then realize just like how bad it all was. But I think there was a general consensus there, though, I think. But yeah, okie dokie, well, that's that video there done. So thank you all so much for watching this video. If you liked it, please leave a like and leave a comment. Let me know what your thoughts about this whole situation are. Do you agree with the points made in this video? Do you disagree on what your thoughts in general? Let me know down in the comments. Also consider subscribing to the channel, Sergeant Beckett. If you'd like, in the description below, there's a link to our link tree. In that link tree, you can find links to 7 other places on the internet where I do several other things, like TikTok, Instagram. There's a couple of Discord servers on there as well. Go down there, have a gander, take your fancy. But thank you all again so much for watching, and I shall see you all in the next one. Adios.